The single most important factor to win an AI search is not keywords, it's not backlinks, and it's definitely not publishing more content than anyone else. It's brand. This is because when it comes to AI-powered search, visibility does not come from who optimized the most. It comes from who people recognize, search for, and talk about. In this video, I'm going to talk about why building a brand is the only sustainable way to drive long-term AI search visibility, what the data tells us about this shift, and what you should be actually doing differently because of it. Let's dive in. First of all, let's actually look at what the data says about building a brand and how it connects with driving AI search visibility. And I'm saying this because this is not just an opinion. It's not based on my anecdotes. It's exactly what I've been seeing in a variety of different studies analyzing multiple domains. For example, Asia have studied about 75,000 brands to see which ones appear the most, are visible the most when it comes to AI overviews. They studied a bunch of different factors to determine which ones correlated the strongest with visibility within this particular model. The result was that the three highest strongly connected factors were all brand-centric. Number one was branded web mentions, number second was branded anchors, and number third was branded search volume. So when it comes to number of pages, number of backlinks, URL ratings, or any other factors that we typically associate with good SEO performance, didn't even come up to the map when it comes to this data. All of the brand-centric metrics dominated. Kevin Indeed did something similar. Within his newsletter, Growth Memo, he released a report, a research that he conducted with, I think, more than dozens of companies, and he noticed a clear connection between the branded search volume of companies and the visibility that they drive within these AI search models. If mapped to a graph, and I'm actually going to attach the graph here, you could see a clear connection between these two metrics. And by the way, this was also validated last year when I conducted a small correlation analysis between all of the companies that I worked with, which were again more than a dozen B2B SaaS companies, and I noticed a connection between the number of times a particular company is mentioned in Google SERPs for a commercial keyword and how high it ranks within LLM platforms' responses. As an example, if you take a keyword like email marketing platform and you search it in Google and you're looking at two different companies that we're making a comparison for, maybe MailChimp versus ActiveCampaign, if you search for that keyword in Google and you look at the top 10 ranking results, especially in listicles, right, the kind of listicle pieces that show up, X best email marketing platform tools, and you see MailChimp having a higher number of mentions in those top 10 ranking results of Google compared to ActiveCampaign, then you're going to clearly see the same thing happening within ChatGPT, for example. Search for the same exact prompt again in ChatGPT, best email marketing software, and MailChimp will rank higher. And if you think about it, the number of times a particular company is listed in the top 10 ranking results of Google actually represents how strong is their brand coverage, how much are they recognized within their particular space. So it's all still brand related. From an LLM standpoint, they're not necessarily ranking pages. If you think about these AI models, they're not necessarily working in the same exact systems that Google used to operate in. They're basically trying to reflect what they're constantly seeing on the World Wide Web, which means if your brand is able to create this consensus with branded signals in the shape of, let's say, brand mentions or search volume or anything else, then LLMs are going to reflect that. So, for example, if a company like Loom has a strong, massive association with screen recording, there's absolutely no way that screen recording is talked about and Loom is not mentioned as a software company, then of course LLMs are going to heavily lean towards Loom when they're trying to list a couple of screen recording software tools in their responses. Now that we've looked at the data of what exactly influences LLMs, I also want to make a point for why this also makes sense for your business to invest in. It's not just related to AI search, it's actually more relevant to how you think about your business and what kind of folks you want to attract to your website. Let me give you an example. Imagine two different scenarios. One, someone searching for a keyword like SEO tips, right? They search for that in Google, they browse through the top 10 ranking results, or maybe the same thing happens inside ChatGPT, right? They search for a informational, maybe a commercial sort of a prompt. They're looking through the companies or the pages that are cited, and they're trying to pick one of them to consume more deeply. Now, in this particular example, rankings are going to matter a lot, whether it's Google or maybe ChatGPT or any other LLM, whether your company or your page is mentioned above or below is going to make a lot of difference in terms of the number of folks that you attract to the site and actually convert. In the other scenario, imagine someone searching for SEO tips, Ahrefs, right? So they actually include the brand name within the search query. Now they're doing the exact same thing inside Google, inside ChatGPT, in the responses that they're getting, in the pages that they're seeing ranking. But there is a difference, right? Because this person is not just looking for SEO tips from anyone in the world. They're specifically looking for the answer from one particular company, which is Ahrefs. To this persona, rankings are not actually going to matter that much. Even if Ahrefs is ranking like number 5th, they're still going to browse and scroll down to find that company, find that page, and then click on it and consume that information, because that's exactly what they're looking for. So we can actually say the first example will create traffic, visitors. The second one will create raving fans. The first person is just browsing. They're just looking for information. The second person already trusts a brand. They already have an affiliation. And that particular trust component is what's going to lead towards conversions from traffic, create word of mouth, and long-term growth. So when you do optimization on any channel, let it be Google or maybe AI search, of course you're going to attract folks to your website. You're going to see some conversions, but you're still at the mercy of the practices that you've taken. You're at the mercy of the company that is giving you visibility, which in this case is either going to be OpenAI, Perplexity, Claude, or any other AI search system. But when you have raving fans literally looking for your company, they literally search with your brand name along with other words that they have in their prompts trying to find specific information, you're giving a strong signal to these companies that, hey, we are undeniable. You simply have to recognize us. You simply have to give us the visibility that we want, because people are looking for us directly. And what happens when people are looking for your brand specifically? They find your pages and click on them, even if they're ranking lower. They seek you out directly, and they also recommend you to others. And that loyalty compounds. So sure, you can start your organic growth programs by being curious about questions such as, how can we rank for this keyword? How do we get visibility for this particular prompt within these AI search models? But a better long-term question to think about and something to work towards is going to be finding the answer to, how do we build something that people want to come back to repeatedly? And finally, within this third section, I wanted to understand this bigger shift, which I'm going to talk about around brand centricity, and comprehend a small but important caveat that I'm going to talk about. See, you have to understand, for a very long time, the kind of businesses that we've seen growing and dominating the internet have been building upon layers of optimization, meaning they had growth hackiness built into their system to grow, to drive users, convert that traffic, make money. So I'm talking about the random SEO affiliate websites that you used to see, with organic search being the only medium of traffic for their business, for their conversions. I'm talking about the marketplaces that we used to witness ranking for almost everything under the sun, and all those listicle factories which existed in almost every single industry, driving money purely from ad revenue. And if you were to pull a common thread among all of these different kind of businesses, you will see them ranking their pages, driving traffic, converting them, and making money. But none of those actually generated business demand. None of them built a brand. And that's the key to understand. You cannot optimize your way to branded search demand or any of the branded signals that we talked about. Branded search demand is what happens when you're building something people actually want. When your product works, when your messaging clicks, and people start talking about you without being prompted. Now, of course, you can have some hacky ways of doing this in the short term, and you should. You should also be optimizing your pages. You should also be doing all of the SEO best practices. But that does not mean that you abandon the long-term plan of building something that will supersede all of these hacky ways and build something that people are actually seeking. I remember when all of those Google EEAT guidelines started coming in, people had this idea that, hey, you actually have to present yourself as an actual company. So have your About Us page talk about this, have your phone number in the footer, and many other signals. But all of those were growth hacky ways of still manipulating the systems. You're basically mimicking a company. Why not actually build one? The simple way is to actually build something people want, be a legit company, show your credibility, and then grow your expertise over time. And there's absolutely no way that any of the search engines will not reward you. And that's the caveat. See, the key here is to understand that AI search rewards signals that are hard to fake. So this includes people searching for your brand name, people mentioning you organically across the web, and positive sentiments in reviews, discussions, or recommendations. And I want to be really, really clear here. When I'm trying to work with a company, when I'm in charge of driving visibility for any project that I'm working on, I'm not necessarily saying, hey, just go and build a company that people want. I'm still doing all of these best practices, building an SEO strategy, but all of that is still geared towards contributing to the larger goal of, hey, we're trying to build a business that people will eventually look for. So I'm trying to make a small contribution by being a part of the broader marketing plan, the broader business strategy, and play my role to help the company get to a point where people will actually start seeking it by brand name. People will actually start talking about the company organically. And we would not have to be at the mercy of growth hackiness or all of these algorithm updates or AI search systems in the mechanics of how they work. The way I think about this is that old search rewarded who optimized the best, and AI search rewards who earns the most attention, trust, and recall. So if you want to grow your visibility inside AI search, stop treating it as a ranking or an optimization problem. Start treating it as a brand problem. Just build something people want and let AI search reflect that reality back to the market.